And welcome to today's webinar, 4 tips to call FSBOs and expires with success with MAPS coach Anna Krueger. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available within 24 hours on the MAPS YouTube. Currently, everyone's on mute. However, if you have any questions for Anna, please type them into the chat box. Following the meeting, if you have any other questions about today's call or other coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. And that's all from me, Anna. Take it away.
All right, well, welcome everyone. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for being here with me today. And if you would put in the chat box real quick, I would love to hear what's happening in your market. So tell us your market and then what's happening with for sale by owners and expireds. So I look at coaching all of you as a great way for me to do some market research. But I would really just love to hear what's happening in your area. Are you getting expireds in for sale by owners? How many per day? Just things like that. I'm super curious. So while you're doing that, let me introduce myself. We can all make sure we're just muted real quick.
Something she's offering, right?
I think someone was introducing this for us. Could you all hear that? All right. So my name is Anna, for those of you that we haven't met before. And I have been doing real estate sales since 2013, really sales altogether since 2006. And the truth is I used to be really terrified to call people, especially for sale by owners and expireds. And then they quickly became my favorite lead source. And I started setting, once I got comfortable with them, I started setting on average 20 combined FSBO and expired appointments per month. So I would say that this is something that I really came to love. I came to excel at, and I don't say that arrogantly. Just sometimes it helps to know who is this instructor, why are they qualified to speak on this subject. So I thought it might help you to know this became about 20 appointments a month for me consistently. And honestly, my top 2 favorite lead sources. I got to the point where if it was coming to the end of lead gen time and I was short on appointments, I would think to myself, let me just call some expireds and FSBOs. And I knew that I would get some. So I'd love to walk you through today, how do you have success with expireds and FSBOs and not be super salesy in the process, just be a normal human talking to other normal humans who need some real estate help. And then also at the end, I'll share a little bit of where you can find more training like this. I do teach a class called Mega Lead Conversion through MAPS. You can go to megaleadconversion.com. There's a little video that explains how the program works and has all the details. And then I'll share more about that at the end. But you can go to megaleadconversion.com and think of today kind of like a small 25, 30-minute snippet of what that 18-week program is like. Okay, are y'all ready? You have something to take notes? Okay, perfect. And I'm watching your chat box here. So any questions I'll hit at the end. All right, so let's talk first about mindset with for sale by owners and expireds. So the first thing that we want to remember is these are people who do have a house to sell. How many of you, if you're honest, which I'm assuming you're honest, you would say, man, calling expireds and for sale by owners, I get a little nervous. If truly, I get a little bit nervous calling these people. And that's exactly how I was. So if that's where you are, I want you to know I felt exactly that way. And it probably took, if I had to guess, a month to quit feeling sick to my stomach. I literally felt sick to my stomach when I would go to call these leads, and I would procrastinate and find everything else to do other than calling them. So I get it. And the first thing I want to encourage you with is calling them is part of how you get comfortable calling them. You have to just simply do it. And as you do it, you will find that you do have some success, and that success will breed more success. Have you ever heard that phrase, success breeds success? But if you don't ever do the activity, you don't get to experience that. So I just want to encourage you, if you haven't made these calls, start making them, and you're not going to get all of them right, but you will find someone who you set an appointment with, especially with some of the techniques from today, and that will give you more confidence to keep going. And eventually you'll be very comfortable with these lead sources. Yeah, I see in the chat box there, they do thicken our skin, that is for sure. Here's the truth. I came from a different industry doing cold calling. I thought expireds and for sale by owners were nice calling them. I used to be a college advisor for a for-profit university, and people were super rude. So even though I was nervous, they were still nicer than who I used to deal with. So yeah, they definitely help you develop some thick skin. So let's first talk about expireds, because what I know is most for sale by owners are former expireds, right? So let's start with expireds. So with expireds, there's a couple of things. One, I would encourage you to call the new ones and attempt to be the first one calling them in the day. I think you've probably heard that before. But let's talk about the call opener. How many of you have called expireds and you know they often pick up the phone and they say things like, oh my gosh, you are the 12th person who's called me today. Why is everyone calling me today? And where were you all when my house was listed? First of all, can we just acknowledge that is a very legitimate question, right? Imagine that you have your house for sale for 6 months. It's quiet, it's not selling, they've never heard from you. And then all of a sudden it's off the market and they're being pounced upon with realtor after realtor. Wouldn't you also wonder, why are all these people calling me today and where were they when my house was listed? So I want you to write something down real quick. And this will help you with expireds and it will help you with every other lead source that you call. I want you to write down and then underline it. Most objections are a lack of education. Most objections are a lack of education. There are other scenarios, but that is most objections. And when they have the concern right out of the gate, where were you? Why didn't you call me? Let me just ask you, what is the education piece that would immediately dissolve that concern? You can feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat box.
The price of the house was too high.
It potentially, but
Right.
what is the number one reason why we don't call houses that are listed?
Because the listing is, there's already a listing agreement in place and we're not allowed to contact them while there's a contract in place.
Bingo, bingo. And I don't know who answered first. That could totally be right from the buyer agent perspective, right? Maybe it wasn't priced correctly for our buyer to be interested, right?
It was,
but
yeah,
but from the seller side, I can't call you if your house is listed, right? So I just want to help you know how to open the call out of the gate, because if we don't know how to open the call, the rest of what I'm going to train you on doesn't matter. You have to keep them on the phone first. So let's just say someone picks up the phone and they're like, why are you calling me today? Where were you when my house was listed? One of the first things you can do is simply say, I totally understand that question. And I can sit here wanting to call you, and I legally cannot call you until your home is unlisted. Did you know that? And what I heard the most was, no, I didn't know. Why didn't anybody else tell me that? Which tells me out of the gate, I've already added some value. And they're questioning, I'm already better off than the other agents because the others did not explain that to them, right? Y'all with me so far? So I'm a facial reaction kind of person. So I need like the thumbs up. I got it. Yeah, that gives me energy. Awesome. Thank you. So that's the first thing right out of the gate is if they give that to you, just explain it to them. And remember, most objections are a lack of education. So educate them on why you did not reach out sooner. The other thing you can do is if they say, oh, you're like the 13th person that's called me today. I like to diffuse that in this way, simply saying something like, oh man, my lucky number is 12, and then just immediately keep going. Don't pause because they will feel the silence, usually with another objection. So that would sound something like, oh man, my lucky number is 12. Well, the reason I'm calling you is we've helped people in your situation. What made you want to sell your house 6 months ago? And all of that is how you can navigate that. By the way, this is recorded, so I know I'm talking fast and you will get the recording to the email you registered with. The other thing that you can do to open a call, let's just say they give you no objections out of the gate. This is how a call opener would go that goes smoothly, where they're ready to engage with you. It would sound something like this. Hey, Patrick, this is Anna calling from the Haro Group, Keller Williams. Hey, thank you so much for taking my call today. And I'm calling because your house just came off the market. Is that right? Now pause real quick. If you've ever taken mega lead conversion, you know I'm big into not asking closed-ended questions in the opener. However, I legally need to make sure it's off the market, correct? So that is going to be one of my first questions. Is that correct? I saw your home just came off the market. Is that right? We're not going to say I saw it expired because outside of the real estate industry, it sounds like someone died or it's an internal term, right? So you're going to say, I saw your home came off the market. Is that right? They'll confirm. And then the best question you can ask them, this is the best question you can ask them. I'm curious, when you originally listed your home, what made you want to move? When you originally, make sure you write that down. when you originally listed your home, what made you want to move? How many of you have called expireds and right out of the gate ask, when can I come list your home? And they usually have objections to that, right? I see some of you nodding your head like, no, don't do that. That can work sometimes, but the best thing that gets you the most amount of communication going is what made you want to list your house when you first listed. Let me ask you all a question. Can we say, yes or no, can we say with 100% confidence that if someone just expired, that at one point when they originally listed, they were motivated to sell their home? Yes or no? Yes. Or they wouldn't have listed it. And
Right,
they wouldn't have let it be listed so long that it eventually expired, right? And so what I found is when I would ask people, when do you want to relist your house? Or do you want to relist with me? I would get no, or I'm not interested, things like that. But when I made the question, hey, back when you originally listed your home, what made you want to sell? They all have an answer to that, because at one point they all had motivation. We all just agreed that that's true. Now, I'm not saying everyone totally engages with you. The goal here isn't that everyone engages with you, every single person you call. But my goal in this training today is to increase the amount of people that engage with you. So when you open the call, I'll do it one more time. You know, hey, Chuck, this is Anna calling from the Haro Group, Keller Williams. Thank you so much for taking my call today. I'm calling you because I saw your home came off the market, and I'm curious, what made you want to sell 6 months ago? And ideally, they just start talking, okay? Now, we don't live in an ideal world. So let me give you one more thing that could pop up, and then we'll switch to for sale by owners. Sometimes they'll say, well, we were going to, but we've changed our mind. And what is tempting to do, this is what not to do, but it is tempting, is to say, well, what changed your mind? But when we ask someone what changed your mind, we are basically saying, can you verbalize why you are not moving? Which only enforces, because now they're saying it, they're hearing it, all the reasons they don't want to move. So what we don't want to do is ask them what changed their mind. What we want to do when they say, well, we were going to, but we're not going to anymore. Great. I'm just curious though, when you were going to, what made you want to? And you basically just restate the question. Have you ever been talking to a 5-year-old and you ask them a question and they give you some totally random answer and then you just restate the question again? That's basically what you're going to do. I'm not saying expireds or 5-year-olds, but the same strategy applies. Okay, Adam, I totally hear you. When you did list 6 months ago, what made you want to do that? And see if you can get them engaged. Here's the thing, and this is the analogy that I'll give you. Who here goes to the gym? Anybody, especially you morning gym people? Okay, I'm a morning gym person. I also don't like the gym. I had a car accident and I have a lot of back problems. So truly going to the gym for me is painful. However, I like what the gym does for me. So if I came to your house at 5 in the morning and I was like, hey, Jeanette, let's go to the gym. We're going to sweat. Your body's going to hurt. Your muscles are going to hurt. You're going to think about this workout for the next 2 to 3 days, as long as we do a good one. And honestly, it's going to be awful. Just awful. How motivating is that? Right? Like some of you might be like, yeah, let's go. Most people are not going to be interested. But if I said, hey, Jeanette, let's go to the gym. We're going to look awesome in our dresses. We're going to be able to hike any mountain that we want. We're going to feel good. We're going to have more endurance. We're going to be able to play with kids better. We're going to feel mentally better. Let's go. Can we all just agree that's way more energizing to talk about the goal of the gym versus the activity of the gym? And I think where a lot of people fail in real estate in general, but also with expireds specifically, is we are so hyper-focused on when are you going to relist? When are you going to relist? When are you going to relist? And we're not talking to them about their personal goals. And what we have to understand is they are disappointed because their house just came off the market without selling. Would you not be disappointed too? And so we've got to re-energize them about their personal motivation, and then we can talk to them about relisting. So what I find happens a lot of time is maybe I'm talking to Emily, and the Emily out of the gate is like, oh yeah, we're not doing that anymore. We think the market changed. You know, we're just not going to do it. Hey, Emily, I appreciate that. I am just curious though, when you originally listed, what made you want to? Well, we wanted to be closer to work. you know, closer to the family. And she starts talking to me about that. It is so much easier to then say, you know, Emily, that sounds really important to you, closer to work, closer to your family. I don't know for sure because I got to ask you some questions. But if I could, in today's market, help you still sell this house and get closer to work, closer to family, would you be open to at least exploring that? And that's often where you'll get the yes. Okay. But first, we have to talk to them about their motivation. Everybody got that? It's motivation first. Now, there's a lot more to cover about expireds, and we have 30 minutes to talk about FSBO and expireds. So my goal was to get you enough training that you can open the conversation, and then you can go from there. But you got to open the conversation first. So what we just went through should help you be able to open the conversation. So now let's talk about for sale by owners. For sale by owners, a lot of them used to be expireds. Because if you actually get into a conversation, you'll say, hey, I'm just curious, you know, what made you decide to go for sale by owner? And they'll talk about some really bad experience they had with their house not selling with a previous real estate agent. Has anybody ever seen that or experienced it? It's pretty common. So we have to understand it's actually a very similar conversation with a FSBO. By the way, side note, our team used to joke that when we had enough for sale by owners closed, we would buy a boat and call it the Fizz boat. It just felt like sharing that. So if any of you ever buy a Fizz boat, please invite me because I love to go out on the water, okay? So Fizz boat, there you go. But here's the thing I found with FSBOs. If I called them and out of the gate said, hey, what made you want to sell your house? They would say something like, why do you need to know that? Do you have a buyer or do you not have a buyer? And I actually get that because if I'm not their listing agent and I'm calling like, hey, is your house available? That kind of sounds like I have a buyer. Why would I need to know why they're selling their house, right? I kind of get that question. So this is what I found works really well. And what I will tell you to build belief in this, that it works, I would set 1 out of 3 pickups. 3 people picking up the phone. And one of them might have even said, don't call me, I'm not interested. Click, that's a contact. 1 out of 3 would set an appointment with me using what I'm about to tell you. And when I say set an appointment, it wasn't, can I come look at your house and just do a preview? It was, let's meet so I can list your house. And they would say yes, 1 out of 3. So what I learned, and make sure you write this down. What I learned is to start off the conversation and say, you know, hey, Barb, it's Anna, come from the Haro Group. I see you have a house for sale. I have 12 active buyers, and I'm really curious, what about your house can I tell them that would make them want to buy it? So I'm trying to get Barbara immediately telling me the positive features of her home, okay? Now, some of them will just start talking, which to me is logical. Like, why would you not answer that question? It's a good question, right? I have this many buyers. Tell me about your home so I know if it's a good fit for one of them. But I also know from calling expireds, quite a few of them will say, and I kind of picture like this head nod with it. They're like, well, the ad's online. Just look at the ad online. Didn't you see it? That's how you got my number, right? Which is comical to me. Like, I'm telling you, I represent 12 buyers. Why would they do that? But they do it. So what I learned is you kind of have to match that energy because remember, you're not calling your best friend. You are calling a for sale by owner who likely has been let down by a past realtor. So they are looking for a realtor who has a spine, if I can just put it very directly like that. So when they have that kind of energy, we're not going to match it totally because I want to be respectful, but I am going to match it by saying, I do see the ad online. And here's the thing. There are 200 other homes listed that are very similar to your home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this area. So if I was at coffee trying to convince one of my buyers to buy your home, what would I tell them? And that overwhelmingly works. I'm sure in all the years there were people who didn't answer, but I don't remember them. In my memory, that works 100% of the time. Because I'm basically saying there's all these other homes that are just like yours. Help me sell your house to my buyers. But here's the goal. If you want to write in your notes, goal number 1 of a FSBO conversation, here's the goal. Get them telling you about the wonderful features of their house. And here's why. Let's say Christian starts telling me, oh man, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. We totally renovated it 2 years ago. New wiring, new plumbing, totally updated the house, great neighbors. And he's now selling me on his house because I asked him to. What should I tell my buyers? And he's now selling me his house. It is now very easy to transition and say, wow, Christian, it sounds like a wonderful home. Why not just stay put? What has you thinking about moving? And now Christian will tell me his motivation. Remember, I set 1 out of 3 using this method. It totally works. So once they tell you, the goal number 1 is get them telling you why their house is so fantastic. And once they do, then you can say, why move? It sounds like a great place. And at this point now, they're much more open and much more talkative with you, okay? Now, what I like to do, and I would do this on our team, make sure you don't say something that you don't actually intend to follow through with. So don't, I've sat in trainings before where people say, well, if they say they have kids, tell them you have kids, even if you don't. I totally am against that, okay? Be totally forthright with them. And what I like to do is after they tell me why they want to move and we talk about it for a few minutes, I would say, all right, Christian, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let all of the buyer agents on our team, or if you are a single agent, you could say, I will let my buyers know about your house. So I will let my buyers know, or I will let my buyer agents know about your house, see if they have a good fit. And I have to be honest with you, people usually make more money when they list with an agent. I'd love to help you list your house and see if I could get you more money. Are you open to that? And that's how you transition into the selling side. So again, to repeat it, number 1, get them telling you why their house is so fantastic. Number 2, wow, what makes you want to move? Sounds like a great place. And then number 3, I will make sure the buyer agents or the buyers know. And I have to let you know, most people make more money with a realtor. Would you be open to exploring that? And in the last minute here, let me share with you, well, not last minute, we have 8 minutes left, but let me share with you the transition of what that works. So what you can do, and this is the truth, most for sale by owners make 12% more with a realtor. And I'll be very honest with you, when I got into real estate, if I talk to a FSBO and they're like, I can make more money on my own, I don't have to pay you commission, I legit thought, yep, probably can. I don't have any idea how we can help you because nobody explained it to me, right? So here's the deal. They usually make 12% more with a realtor. And that's, so even after commission, they are usually still way ahead having a realtor. There's a couple of reasons why. One is negotiations after they go under contract. So things like repair requests, things like that. But here's the analogy that I'll use. And I need someone to role play with me real quick. And we're not doing all these objections. You're just doing this one little role play with me. Who can do that? Okay.
I can do it.
Louise or Cameron. Cameron's already unmuted. Louise, I appreciate your excitement. Cameron unmuted. Okay.
Sorry.
All right, Cameron. So we're already on the phone. We've already talked. We have good rapport going. And when I say that most of the time you can make more money with a realtor, I want you to be like, but how? And then just go through with me. So Cameron, usually when you list with a realtor, you make more money. Would you be open to exploring that?
You know, 3 other agents said that. How are you going to do that for me?
Yeah, it's a really legit question. So let me ask you this. Let's say you and I on a Saturday decided to go to some auctions, and there were 2 auctions across the street from each other. They had all the same items. Everything was identical. But one auction had 200 people and one auction had 3. Which auction is going to make more money?
The auction with 300.
Okay. And why did you say the one auction with several hundred people?
Because there's more people willing to pay for a specific item.
Yep. And by the way, when you're doing this with a real FSBO, sometimes they're like, oh, I see. Like sometimes they hear it themselves, right? So Cameron, why would the one with 300 people make more money?
Because there's more people there willing to buy, and the price, the bid might go above asking price with that many people looking to buy.
Yeah. So Cameron, here's the deal. I think your house can sell on your own. The question is, how much money are you leaving on the table? You know, when you list with us, we syndicate out to over 200 websites. So you have it on 3, you told me. we put it out to over 200, and you were just saying yourself how more exposure helps bring in more money, right? Wouldn't it make sense to at least meet with me?
Yeah, I guess it does.
Yeah, it usually
That's
works.
good.
It usually works. And again, that's the quick highlights of the #1 things that can help you with for sale by owners. Thank you so much, Cameron. I really appreciate it. And then what I would do is ask them some questions about, their house, which a lot of it I can probably see on the ad, but I would ask them things like, how much do you need to walk away with for this to make sense? And I find a lot of for sale by owners and expireds appreciate it if you just tell them, I will not list your house if I do not think I can make you happy. Because they're used to, they've already been let down probably, especially the expireds, maybe the FSBOs. And so I would just say, hey, Cameron, let me ask you some questions and let's set a time to get together. And I will be very honest with you. If I do not think I can make you happy at the end of this transaction, I will straight up tell you. I'll be honest with you. And they appreciate it. And then run some numbers before you have that appointment, run comps and do all that stuff and see, is this someone I can help? Some expireds and FSBOs, I don't want to list because they're very unreasonable. And I don't want to list those houses. A lot of them we can help. So that's how you do it. Obviously, there's probably a lot of questions remaining and we have a very short time to cover these 2 topics. So again, the goal is to help you at least get the conversation started. So let me just ask you, did you learn at least one thing that you could use to help you get an expired or a FSBO appointment today? And if so, the goal was accomplished in this short period of time. I see the question from Louise, do you ask the pre-qual questions before meeting? Absolutely, absolutely. I want to walk into that appointment already knowing where this house should be listed. I already know. So I'm asking them all the questions before we meet. And by the way, we teach that in Mega Lead Conversion. And I do want to tell you about that class, because if you got something out of this class, think of how much money you could make if all you did the rest of the year was could you have one additional closing because of what you just learned in 20 minutes, 25 minutes? How much money is that, right? Your ROI on time is probably very high from this class. And in the class Mega Lead Conversion, we're teaching you lots of things like this, language patterns. How do you open a call so they don't hang up on you? What do you do if they pick up and then they're like, oh, I'm busy. Can I call you later? Well, they picked up the phone. They're probably not busy, right? So how do you navigate that? Not salesy, but relationally. How do you navigate that I'm busy, call me later? We go over things like, how do you dig out their true motivation? How do you set an appointment that actually shows up and signs with you? So one student in class was in class for about 2 months, and she wrote me and said, I am already sitting in front of 10 extra people per month because of this class. Not setting 10 extra, sitting in front of 10 extra appointments held per month, about 8 weeks, 2 months into the program. So that starts on May 10th. It is about 3 weeks from tomorrow, or exactly 3 weeks from tomorrow. And it's megaleadconversion.com. And if you go, or when you go to megaleadconversion.com, I have about a 2 to 3 minute video on there that I go into more detail of what the program is. Okay. So on the website, there's all this info about how it works, all of that good stuff. So megaleadconversion.com. And that starts on Wednesday, May 10th. It's $199 a month for 6 months. And the way that works out, it's just under $1,200, but you do not pay that all at once. It's $199 once a month for 6 months. But for most of you with the average commission, and you won't get only this, but if you get one closing, you're already at an 8 times ROI for the program based off the average commission. So it's up to you to show up. That's, I can't control that part, but you're here on a free training. You'll probably be the people who show up and really engage. That's my guess. You can expect significant ROI out of that class as long as you show up and put in the work. I'm confident of that. So megaleadconversion.com. The calls are recorded, and we don't put it in a Facebook group. We have a client portal, however. So there's a client portal only for people in the program. We have a script partner sign up sheet, class 1. I give you a buyer sheet and a seller sheet, class 1. It's pretty, the first 4 weeks are really geared towards getting you into production really, really fast. And then weeks 5 through 18 It's not that we slow it down because you still get a lot of content every class, but we do deeper dives. So it's almost like the first 4 weeks are do these things and you will have success. And we'll go deeper into it weeks 5 through 18, if that makes sense, okay? How many students on average are in class? Usually we have about 150 people per class. However, maybe 75 live because a lot of people do watch the recordings. And it's a lot like this. It's Zoom. I do have slides, so there's a lot more visual in the class because there's slides going on. But a lot of people ask that because they're wondering about, is it crowded? Is it hard to get a word in edgewise? And usually at the end of each class, we'll have about 10 minutes for Q&A and everybody's muted. And I can control that. If it gets distracting, I just hit mute all. So that way it's not chaos, okay? It is gonna be Wednesdays. It is not in person. It's like this. It's very similar to this, except it's an hour. And I have slides, things, and you have workbooks. So in that sense, it's a bit more organized because there's workbooks and slides, but it's basically interactive Zoom. It's 1 hour long a week, and it is recorded. And essentially we meet 3 weeks a month, and then you have a week off. And that makes it that if you miss one, you have a week to catch up. Students just reported they really liked having 1 week off each month. It just helped kind of manage time. It's Wednesdays, and you have 8 months of access for the 6-month program. In fact, I'll just show you guys real quick. If you guys can wait a second, I will show you 2 things. I'll show you the website, and then I'll show you the client portal. But I wasn't planning to, so just give me a second to get it up. So this is megaleadconversion.com. And if you come down here, click here to register, it'll bring you to the maps page. This is the actual official page. And here's the video. It's taking a minute to load, but this is the video I made that explains how the program works. It has all the detail. Here's a bunch of descriptions. Here's some frequently asked questions. And then when you click sign up, which notice I'm saying when you click, right? Take a sales class from me. I can help you. Not if you click, guys, when you click, when you meet with me, when you sign with me today, when I sell your house. These are all called embedded commands. All right, so this tells you the whole schedule. So when you click on register, before you actually register, you can double check things. It's Wednesday, 2:30 Central, which is when this class started today. And then here's all the dates of the program, okay? If you're not a KW associate, just click no, and it will let you skip past all that. And then you just fill all that out. There you go. And then the client portal, let me show that to you real quick. This is what the client portal looks like. Let me get signed in. And here's the one I'm already teaching. So this class is already in progress. And basically you come into each session, and here's all the downloads for class. And you can see class 1. Here's a buyer sheet, a seller sheet, practice partner sign up, workbook, class 1. And then about 24 hours after class, we upload the recording so you can watch it right here. And you can see session 1, session 2, and so forth, okay? So that's what the client portal looks like. When you register, you get an automatic email inviting you to that portal immediately. Now there's not content in there till May 10th. But you'll get an auto email inviting you. Okay, what other questions? Yeah, a lot of you are in bold, which is awesome, by the way. So yeah, you can totally watch the recordings. I like it when you're live because I love this. I'm an extrovert, could you tell? Is that obvious to anyone? So I like the interaction. The more people on the live call is fun for me. And it gives you a chance to interact and ask questions and have a community. And I think that's a big part of the program is the community. There's other people doing the same thing you are. However, if you're in bold, just watch the recording. That's totally fine. Okay, we do not provide you leads, but we'll teach you how to work the leads that you have. JP, do we help with the listing presentation? So I don't give a listing presentation in the class, and yes, and the reason I say that is a lot of what happens in a listing, presentation, we get objections, right? And we spend a lot of time handling objections. We spend a lot of time on motivation in the class, which is part of what you do in a listing presentation. So I don't actually give you like a slide deck. There's a class I think it's called Mega Listing Agent, where they do more of that kind of thing. This is really geared towards how to convert the lead. How do you convert the lead? Set the appointment, get them to sign with you. People that use our methods usually get a 90% signing ratio. My team using these methods, I'm not on the team now, but when I was, when I tracked it the entire time, we had a 90% listing sign ratio, 95% buyer sign ratio. So when they met with us, they signed overwhelmingly the majority of the time. And a lot of that comes from what we teach in this class. If we get a no-show partner, so when you sign up for the script partner sign-up sheet, the one I have right now, there's like 100 people on there from the current class. Just find someone else. But I also teach you how to practice, and you don't need a partner to practice well. So that way you don't feel limited if your partner bails on you, which they shouldn't bail on you, and they do sometimes, right? So I teach you, well, how do you do it even if you don't have a script partner? Okay, it'll be 2:30 Central Time on Wednesdays. This class works on the sell and buy sides. Yeah. It's basically a sales class. I'll tell you honestly, I had a photographer from my church come to me and say, hey, I see your stuff on social media. Can I take your class? And I said, well, it's really geared towards buyer and selling listing or real estate agents. And it's really just sales skill. So yeah, you'll just have to translate some of the real estate stuff to photography, but yes. Well, her name's Becca, and she quit showing up to class halfway through, and I ran into her at church, and I was like, hey, I just want to check, like, are you okay? I haven't seen you in class. And she laughed, and she said, Anna, I took my biggest client that I've ever had since starting your class because of your class. I've been so busy, I can't join live anymore, but I'm watching the recordings. And I was like, okay. Awesome. That is a great reason to not be in class. Also, please come to live class because I miss you. But what I'm saying is she's not even in real estate and she benefited from the class. So yes, it's geared for buyer, listing, and inside sales agents, but we've had team leaders take it, photographers take it, rainmakers take it. It's basically if you talk to humans and your goal is to turn them into a client, the class will help you. Becky says, when will the next one start? I actually don't know. Often we'll launch about every 3 months, but I don't have a date. It might be longer than that because I'm going to Africa for 3 weeks in about 3 months. So we might have to delay it a little bit. But I would say in the next 3 to 5 months. Debbie says, can my buyer agent and I watch it together? If you are on the same team, you may have 2 people per registration. So you can't have a team of 8 people under one contract, but you could have a team of, or 2 of you on one contract. That's fine. So if you have 8 people, 4 contracts. If you have 10 people, 5 contracts. If you have 2 people, 1 contract. Does that make sense? And by the way, this class used to be $800 a month for 1 person. And when COVID hit, we changed it to make it more accessible, and we've just left it there. So it used to be $800 a month for 1 person. Now it's $199 a month for 1 to 2. Okay. So if you're a single agent and you're like, oh, I don't get 2 people because I'm a single agent, you're still getting a huge discount, $600 a month. So don't feel too bad. Okay. Can you start the class now? I love the urgency because I'm also a super impatient person, and it starts May 10th. But what you can do is go to YouTube and just search my name and you'll see a bunch of stuff to hold you over. Okay. Yes, Stan. So ISAs definitely can take this class. Inside sales agents, buyer agents, and listing agents. We walk you through hello, all the way through a signed listing agreement. That's basically what the class is. And the business of real estate. So we also go through things like mindset, the economic model. I'll finish with this because I think it'll help some of the questions coming in. When COVID hit, I'm an extrovert and I lived by myself. So I just sat down and I entertained myself by thinking, what are all the things that I wish I knew when I got into real estate sales? And we revamped the course because I made this whole sheet of things. And then I gave it to other people that I considered top performers. And I said, what am I missing? What do you wish you knew as a buyer, listing, or inside sales agent that you didn't know when you started that you wish you did? And that list is how the class became 6 months. So we didn't sit down and think, let's write a 6-month program. We sat down and thought, what are all the things that we wish we had known that would make someone an absolute success? And it became a 6-month program to cover all of those topics. So we don't only give you language patterns and dialogues, we also teach you, how do you set up your workspace? How do you practice without a practice partner? You know, how do you forecast your income? Because we don't work in an industry that has a set income, right? So how do you do the economic model and forecast to hit your income as an independent contractor in real estate? How do you do that so that you can sleep at night and not worry about work? So we really teach you the business of lead gen and conversion as well as the dialogues, okay? All right, perfect. Okay, so megaleadconversion.com. Sign up today and we'll see you May 10th. And then I'll answer this last question. Who do you use to get expired in FSBO? I do not recommend using the dialers of these companies. I don't discuss dialers because a lot of people are having lawsuits with dialers. So I'm not recommending the dialers. Do y'all hear me? Not recommending dialers. However, the two most common that I hear for gathering data would be Vulcan 7 and Mojo. Those are the two most common. If you guys have others that you like, you can throw those into the chat box. But as far as gathering data, Vulcan 7 and Mojo seem to be pretty good. I just do not recommend the dialers of those. Check with your local broker on dialer use. Okay, we are well over time. And speaking of the gym, I am now officially late. So I meet a personal trainer across town in a few minutes. I gotta go. But I will see you guys on May 10th. Again, megaleadconversion.com, May the 10th. Tell anyone else you know that you believe would benefit, and I will see you in class on Wednesday, May 10th. All right, go call some for sale by owners and expireds. You'll do great. Talk to you guys later.